Houses were the headquarters of the early Christian movement. I mean, obviously back then in the first century, church buildings just didn't exist, but more importantly, people found that houses were ideal spaces to share life together, to discuss and hear and interact with biblical teaching, and to carry out Jesus' commands to love one another, to serve and celebrate one another. For years, ministry houses have helped carry out Jesus' call to live out those one another passages, to make disciples and raise up indigenous leaders.
The difference between living somewhere like here versus living in just a house with roommates where you're just rent sharing. In a ministry house, there's an added element to that where it's not just for functional convenience, but it's actually for a spiritual purpose, where each of the guys is actually trying to grow with God and trying to serve God. And you're not just doing that on your own, but you've got other guys that you live with, and you can help each other and kind of encourage each other and challenge each other to grow in your relationship with God.
Ministry houses are private residences rented and run by members who want to live out biblical community at a very high level. Most often what happens is that men or women who attend the same home Bible study will get a house together and use it to carry out the larger mission of the group.
Yeah, each guy actually brings something different to the table, which is really cool because it's not just that the leader is kind of telling people what to do or something, but it's actually each guy brings their own set of gifts and their own set of, things about their personality.
Members are expected to grow relationally and functionally too. Roommates form deep bonds with each other and help each other in school or career. Most members eventually go on to land good jobs and start successful families.
Even too, it's like you look at the example of Jesus. If we are following in his example, he laid down his life for people, sacrificed for them. I just think that living in a house with other people that are, trying to also follow in the example that Jesus set and what God calls us to, you really get that opportunity living in a ministry house.
Before anybody moves in, we ask that members read and affirm a standard house agreement that we post online. The purpose for this is that we don't want to bait and switch anybody. We want everybody who lives in a ministry house to know why they're living there, to understand the expectations on them and the expectations other people are going to have as well. Obviously, this is not just a rooming house. This is a rooming house with a purpose. This is for people who want to be disciples of Jesus, who want to be deeply invested in the lives of others, and vice versa, have other people kind of come deeply into their lives as well.
I think one thing that's been really cool in my time living here is that there's been a lot of guys that have come through that have, tough backgrounds. You move into a house like this, you're not judged for that stuff, but people actually see potential in you. Where it's like, this is a dude who actually has great potential in God's eyes. And that's something we place a high value on here, that God sees a lot of potential in you and your ability to grow with him. And so it's a place where people can come in and get help from the other guys in growing through some of those struggles.